Hi guys, how you doing? Thanks very much for watching my informational series about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm going to do a couple of new videos. I hope you enjoy them. They're going to be short and to the point, and I hope that they'll encourage people to leave the cult that I was a part of for 25 years. Okay. If you don't know about me, you'll know that I used to be a pioneer. I did. I used to knock on the doors regularly, and I very rarely cheated the time or anything. I was a genuine, true believer. I never wanted to leave the witnesses, but once you realize it's nonsense, you can't go back. Now, this video is going to be a bit different and it's going to be quite controversial, I think, basically because of the title. And the title is Black Jehovah's Witnesses. Have some goddamn self-respect. If you are an African American or a black or a minority Jehovah's Witness, you may have heard of the Jehovah's Witnesses' history of brutal racism and horrible language towards minorities. Maybe you've just said, well, that's imperfect people. But if I had a history of saying nasty things about other races, I don't, and I then ignored it for many, many years, the very least thing that you could expect would be to be able to ask me, how do you feel about that now? And that I should be able to tell you, I don't feel that way anymore. And it was a big mistake. Not only did Jehovah's Witnesses not say that, but they think God told them to say it. So we're going to go back through history now, and we're going to see what the Jehovah's Witnesses, and if you're an African American or a minority, what the Jehovah's Witnesses thought of your ancestors. So we're going to start off in the Watchtower of 1900, back in the day, okay? And 19 years before God chose them. So apparently they're pretty good at this point, much better than the world around them. Now let's see what they say. This is their reason for not giving magazines to black congregations. Coloured people have less education than whites, many of them quite insufficient to permit them to profit by reading such material as we have to give forth. Our conclusion is based upon the supposition that reading matter distributed to a coloured congregation would more than half of it be utterly wasted, and a very small percentage likely to yield good results. Okay, but surely this is just a aberration. They couldn't have done this too much. Watchtower 1901. There they're talking about how they don't think that there's much point in doing a world conversion for some of the minorities because according to Sir H. Johnson, our Special Representative Commissioner for Uganda, and a man with many experiences in Africa, he says, the Christian religion, despite what they do with the Negro, he'll still continue to be gross, immoral and deceitful. Missionaries may have succeeded in turning their disciples into professing Catholics or Anglicans or Baptists, but the impartial observer is surprised to find that adultery, drunkenness and lying are more apparent among the converts than among their brethren. And again, I regret to say, with a few very rare exceptions, those native African pastors, teachers and catechists whom I have met have been all more or less bad men. They attempted to veil an unbridled immorality with an unblushing hypocrisy and a profane display of mouth religion, which to an honest mind seemed even more disgusting than the immorality itself. Okay. It is also found evident that the spirit of sturdy manliness which was present in their savage forefathers, Unga Bunga, found no place in their false cowardly natures. What a despicable thing. Oh my god, they're savage forefathers. Watchtower 1902. The Negro is not a beast. Thanks for clearing that up for me. Whilst it is true that the white race exhibits some qualities of superiority over any other, that's right, check me out. Fine example of manliness. We are to remember that there are wide differences in the same Caucasian family. I'd be the wide difference, I think. Okay, so the posterity. Okay, what? Yes. Anyway, now we're talking about where the black people came from. Okay. Prophetically, he foretold this degeneracy would mark the posterity of Canaan, degrading him, making him servile. We are not able to determine to a certainty that the sons of Ham and Canaan are the Negroes, but we consider that general view as probable as any other. Okay, so black people, you're the sons of Ham and you're servile. Now, from my experience in the Golden Age, with the hybrids, I believe that when man shall yield its increase, it shall come along with different lines in the crossing of plants. Large fruits can be raised by crossing, but not always of value, even in the case of the human family. If the father and mother are of different races, the children are sometimes unfit for brain work. Oh, I'm not too sure how to do all this with the book learning I don't got. Wonderful are the fixed laws of God. So apparently, according to the Golden Age, the fixed laws of God were not to mix the races. Now, why do you say this matters? Of course it doesn't. Everybody believed this back in these days. They were all morons. But God chose these morons because apparently they're better than all the other morons. Watchtower, 1904. Can the Ethiopian change his skin? What the Ethiopian cannot do for himself, God could readily do for him. Dear me. God can change the Ethiopian's skin in his own due time. Professor H.A. Edwards of Slater, Montana, has written for the public press an elaborate description of how Julius Jackson, a Negro boy of 9 years, began to grow white in September 1901. Michael Jackson did that, didn't he? I'm not sure it's the same thing. Right? But that new white skin is as healthy as that of any white boy, and that changed boy has never been sick and has never taken any medications. Thank goodness. There's the hope for all those poor black people yet. And if you're Jehovah's Witness, this is what your religion started out with. This is what God shows people. Watchtower, 1914. Oh, there's so much to work with on 1914, isn't there? Where are we? Let's just go on down because they've got a ton of stuff for us to talk about. Oh, I'm just going to cut that because it's too much. Golden Age, 1919. Now, this is the year, okay, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, when Jesus Christ looked around the earth and chose the Jehovah's Witnesses. From a criminal viewpoint, the desirability of sobering the Southern Negro speaks volumes for national prohibition. Okay, Jesus must have loved that. The Bible versus Evolution, page 30. God has specially blessed and favoured certain branches of the Aryan race in Europe and America. But the fact that the white race has been more abundantly blessed with the light of the gospel than others is not to be understood to signify that when members of other races heard and appreciated the gospel, they were repulsed and rejected by the Lord. Well, thank goodness for that then, eh? Golden Age, 1929. Now, Jesus picked you 10 years ago, Jehovah's Witnesses, at this stage. Is there anything in the Bible that reveals the origin of the Negro? Because I'm always wondering about that. Every day I sit down with my kids and we have long discussions about the origin of the Negro. It is generally believed that the curse which Noah pronounced upon Canaan was the origin of the black race. Certain it is that when Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren," he pictured the future of the coloured race. They have been and are a race of servants. There is no servant in the world as good as a good coloured servant, and the joy he gets from rendering faithful service is one of the purest joys there is in the world. Golden Age, 1929. Now, surely that's all changed. They don't feel that way anymore. Well, let's go to 1 year before I was born, 1973, in the Watchtower. What is the Jehovah's Witnesses' view towards interracial marriage? Jehovah's Witnesses at all times seek to reflect the biblical view on matters, because you could see that with their constant worry about where the Negro came from. Jesus sat down with the apostles and constantly worried about that. The Bible nowhere implies that racial differences in themselves have anything to do with the properness of marriage. Are there other factors then worth considering? Yes, for Christians seek to exercise good judgment and wisdom in all they do. Gotta use the noggin, white people. Among other things, they are encouraged to go on walking in wisdom towards those on the outside. You see, now what they're going to say is, we're not racist, but if we offend racists, then really we shouldn't do it. Nevertheless, not all persons share this broadened viewpoint, nor do all appreciate Bible standards. Many deep-seated prejudices remain in the world of mankind. A Christian, being realistic, must face life as it is, not as he wishes it to be. In other communities, local prejudice produce discrimination and unkind treatment towards those of certain races of mankind. So don't marry them. Persons of different races may have very similar backgrounds culturally and socially as to education, or their backgrounds may be very different. Sometimes the varied habits, attitudes and customs that go with different backgrounds seem to add, interest to the marriage union, yet widely differing backgrounds among even marriage mates of the same race can and sometimes do give rise to problems. I absolutely agree. That's why I married my sister. So yeah, I'm not going to read any more of this crap, because this is the Jehovah's Witnesses as late as 1973 telling their membership that you really shouldn't get married to a member of the opposite race because we're not racist. But guys, dear me, couples working together help stay united. This is their 2011 view, and now they're starting to say then that intermarriage is not great still, but maybe you can work. And they say it like this: as a factor then, a man may consider whether or not interracial marriage is likely to create a seriously adverse effect on the attitude of the people in his community towards this kingdom announcement work. So what they're saying is, you might love her, but if she's black and it means you can't sell the Watchtower Awake, you should probably dump her. Okay, guys? That's the Jehovah's Witnesses that I know and love. That's the Jehovah's Witnesses that you, if you're a witness, probably don't know and love. And I hope I haven't offended you by this. But the bottom line is the Jehovah's Witnesses are an intolerably racist organisation with a horribly racist past that they should be ashamed of, that they've never said sorry for. Now, I'm going to finish this on one point. There's a campaign called the Roads Must Fall or Roads Must Go campaign. And it's across Africa where they're trying to get rid of statues commemorating Cecil Rhodes, who was a British explorer and founder of lots of white, territories of Africa. And they want rid of everything. And, and shamefully in some places they're breaking into, museums and tearing out artwork, burning it on the street and old books and stuff, which I think is contemptible. But the point is, they don't even want to be reminded of this past. If you're a Jehovah's Witness and you are a minority, have some damn respect for yourself. Don't tolerate being in an organisation which thinks this about you, which thinks that you're lower than them, and which has never apologised for this horrible and nasty racist language. Thanks very much for watching, and I want you to have a good day.